He is a son of Feanor, known for his anger, as well as the vile deeds he would commit in his father's name. He would follow his father into exile, into Middle-earth, and into death. Today on Nerd of the Rings, we cover the life of Caranthir. Caranthir is born sometime during the years of the trees in Valinor. Specifically, he would have been born in Tirion, the city of the elves. His parents are Feanor and Nerdanel, making Caranthir one of the grandsons of Finwë, the first king of the Noldor. Caranthir is the fourth of Feanor's 7 sons. While we do not know her name, we are told that Caranthir was married, as were his brothers Maglor and Curufin. Of the 3 brothers known to have married, Curufin is the only one known to have children, making Caranthir the uncle of the famous Second Age smith, Celebrimbor. By the year of the trees 1495, Caranthir is at least 1,200 years old, according to our own years. It is then that the Dark Lord Melkor murders his grandfather Finwë and steals his father's greatest masterwork, the silmarils. In response, Feanor declares the Dark Lord his people's greatest enemy, branding him Morgoth. Along with his brothers, Caranthir swears the oath of his father that anyone, friend or foe, who should withhold a silmaril from them shall have war made upon them. Making to pursue Morgoth to the lands of Middle-earth, Caranthir follows his father and brothers to Alqualondë, where they are refused the use of the Teleri ships. In response, the followers of Feanor attack their fellow elves and steal the vessels. So passes the first kinslaying of elves against elves. Caranthir and the followers of Feanor are joined by the rest of the Noldor and travel north. In the year of the trees 1497, they come to the helcaraxe, the icy land bridge leading from the Undying Lands to Middle-earth. There, Caranthir follows his father, departing via the stolen Teleri ships, abandoning the Noldor who followed his uncle Thingolfin. After arriving in Middle-earth, Feanor decides that rather than sending the ships back for Thingolfin, they will burn them, forcing the other Noldor to take the deadly, icy road. Later that very year, in one of the first battles between the Noldor and Morgoth, Feanor is ambushed by a force of Balrogs and wounded by their leader, Gothmog. Caranthir and his brothers rescue their father from immediate death at the hands of the Balrogs, but he is mortally wounded and dies shortly after. Years later, Caranthir and his brothers would be part of a great elven council in Beleriand. Both the Feanorian elves and those under Thingolfin meet in the lands of Mithrim in the 7th year of the First Age. At this council, Maedhros would ask forgiveness of Thingolfin for the deeds of his father, such as the burning of the ships. Yet while a couple of Feanor's sons would repent of their father's ways, Caranthir would show that he was perhaps most similar to him. After Galadriel's brother Angrod delivers a message from Thingol, king of the Sindar elves, tempers would flare. Caranthir, who did not love the sons of Finarfin, and was known as being the most harsh and quick to anger of all his brothers, would scorn Angrod. "Let not the sons of Finarfin run hither and thither with their tales to this dark elf in his caves. Who made them our spokesman to deal with him? And though they be come indeed to Beleriand, let them not so swiftly forget that their father is a lord of the Noldor, though their mother be of other kin." This line reinforces Caranthir's view that the Noldor were superior to the elves of the Sindar, and he even gets a last-moment dig at Thingolfin's mother, Finwë's second wife, Indis, who was among the Vanyar elves. For his part, Maedhros would rebuke his brother, but the damage among the elves was done. For the Noldor in attendance, Both those under Fingolfin and many under the sons of Feanor were troubled by the words of Caranthir. They saw in him the potential for the sons of Feanor to ever burst into rash words or violence like their father. Thus, nearly all the princes of the Noldor choose at this council Fingolfin as their leader. As it was their father who was the last High King, the sons of Feanor are angered by this development, all save Maedhros, the rightful heir. Maedhros restrains his brothers and waives his claim to the throne. For earlier, he had been rescued from the clutches of Morgoth by Fingolfin's son, Fingon, and thus he leaves the high kingship to the wisdom of Fingolfin. While Maedhros would be at peace with the passing of the throne, Caranthir and his remaining brothers, and many of their followers, would yet hold animosity toward the other Noldor. Likely in order to maintain peace, Maedhros leads his brothers to the east of Beleriand, where they can establish their own realms. Perhaps to the surprise of no one, Caranthir goes furthest to the east, and furthest from Fingolfin's lands. He and his people come to the Blue Mountains, establishing his halls and fortress at Mount Rerir, on the shores of Lake Helivorn. The lands of his realm, which had been known as Thargelion, also becomes known as Dor Caranthir, the land of Caranthir. Given their location upon the doorstep of the Blue Mountains, Caranthir and his people are the first of the Noldor to meet the dwarves. While both peoples had a great love of skill and were eager to learn from one another, there was no great love between them. The dwarves are secretive and quick to resentment, and Caranthir is said to have been haughty and could barely conceal his scorn for the unloveliness of the dwarves. And we are told his people followed his example. Despite not liking one another, the people of Caranthir and the dwarves of the Blue Mountains would mutually benefit, for the dwarves would learn many secrets of crafting from their smiths, leading them to new heights. Meanwhile, it is said that all trade coming from the dwarves would first pass through the hands of Caranthir, making him very rich. After 3 centuries, there would be newcomers to Thargelion, for in 312 of the First Age, the men of the Haladin would cross the Blue Mountains and enter Beleriand, the second group of the Edain to do so. These men settle within the lands of southern Thargelion, and while they lived in Caranthir's lands, they did not swear allegiance to him. Decades later, in 375, the Haladin would come under attack by orcs of Morgoth. Their chieftain and his son are slain, and the leadership passes to the chieftain's daughter, Haleth, who fights valiantly to allow her people to hold out against the invading force. After 7 days of siege and battle, Caranthir arrives to rescue the Haladin, driving the orcs into the rivers and to their destruction. Seeing what had been accomplished under Haleth, Caranthir's eyes are opened to the valor of men. Seeing them as potential allies against Morgoth, he offers them lands further to the north, where they would have friendship and protection of the elves. Yet Haleth and her people are proud and unwilling to live under Caranthir's rule. Instead, they would make the long journey to the forest of Brethil, and ever after dwell in the lands they are granted by Thingol. 80 years later, Morgoth would finally make a move against the elves, sending forth his orcs, Balrogs, the dragon Glaurung, and rivers of flame from Thangorodrim, scorching the lands of Ardgallen and the forests of Dorthonion. While the elves in their respective regions would fight back, it would be a decisive victory for the Dark Lord. With the exception of Maedhros and Maglor, the sons of Feanor would be forced to retreat and would be scattered. His brothers Celegorm and Curufin would flee to Nargothrond, as Caranthir joins the twins Amrod and Amras, going south to Aman Ereb. The orcs would take Caranthir's fortress for their own, ravaging the surrounding lands and defiling Lake Helivorn. After 8 years of maintaining their watch on this area, a new group of men would cross the Blue Mountains, Easterlings. Led by Ulfang, these Easterlings would swear allegiance to Caranthir and are given land in Lothlin. Meanwhile, a second group of Easterlings under Bor would come under the service of Maedhros and Maglor. Emboldened by the theft of a silmaril by Beren and Luthien, the sons of Feanor are eager to make war upon Morgoth. In 468, they form the Union of Maedhros, a great alliance consisting of 2 armies. In the east, there are the sons of Feanor, along with the Easterling factions, and the dwarves of Bellagost. In the west are the elves now under Fingon as High King, the men of Dorlomin, some among the House of Haleth, and scattered elves from Nargothrond and Doriath. 4 years later, they make their great war against the enemy. While the battle would seem winnable at different moments, in the end it would be a disaster for the Alliance. Unbeknownst to Caranthir, Ulfang had been sent into Beleriand by Morgoth himself, and this faction of Easterlings, now under his son Uldor, would turn against the elves during the battle. Fortunately, Bor and his sons would remain faithful to the sons of Feanor, and they kill all 3 sons of Ulfang before their own demise. Facing assault from 3 sides, among whom is the dragon Glaurung, the sons of Feanor and their forces are scattered in disarray. To their rescue comes the dwarves of Bellagost, under their lord, Azagal. Their great armor allows them to face down Glaurung, and Azagal himself deals a stabbing wound to the Great Worm. The valor of the dwarves allows the sons of Feanor to escape into Osiriand, surviving the dreadful Nirnaeth Arnoediad, the Battle of Unnumbered Tears. During their time in Osiriand, Caranthir and his brothers would be aware that Luthien now wore the silmaril which she and Beren had taken from Morgoth, yet they dared not attempt to claim the jewel from her. This would all change after Beren and Luthien's second and final death in 503 of the First Age. The silmaril, which was contained in the great Nauglamir necklace, is sent to their son Dior, who now ruled in his grandfather's place in Menegroth. Rumor runs through Beleriand, saying, "A silmaril of Feanor burns again in the woods of Doriath." While the sons of Feanor would not dare to confront Luthien, the same does not hold for her son. The 7 sons gather together from their wandering and send word to Dior, demanding the return of their father's gem. Dior gives no response, and Caranthir and his brothers, driven by their terrible oath, prepare an assault upon the realm of the Sindar. In the middle of winter, they launch this surprise attack to take the jewel by force. Dior kills Celegorm before falling in the battle himself. Curufin, the father of Celebrimbor, would also be slain, as well as Caranthir. Their attack would be for naught, as the silmaril would escape in the hands of Dior's daughter, Elwing, who flees to the mouths of Sirion. Thus ends the life of the harshest and most quick to anger of the sons of Feanor, falling in battle against his own kind, in a time where banding together against the forces of evil was most vital. Like his father, his rage would lead to division, conflict, death, and ultimately, his own demise. As always, I want to say a huge thank you to all my Patreon and YouTube supporters who make this channel possible. Tom DeBombadil 19, Lissamy the Cinda, Rabbi Rob Thomas, Charles Leisure, CCDC Red Team, Joe Tepper, The Mighty Mim, Andrew Carlisle, Swirled Traveler, Matthew Jeffrey, Viking Lord, Alvin Einbert, Jeremy Daniel Derby, Madame Director, Leo Vittori, Sky Carcass, Slide Belts, Dane Ragnarsson, Berto Berg, Graham Derricott, The Dark-Haired One, Wyland, Z and N, Evely, Kia, Freya Firestar, Micah Wu, and Debbie. If you enjoyed the artwork in this video, check out the artists in the description to purchase prints of their great work for yourself. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Nerd of the Rings.